Go!
Oh, hello, I'm Curtis Charlton. I'm Andrew Ricci. And we will be answering the questions of the movie Miss Repersentation.
And your host is Augustus Brandt, and I have some questions here for Curtis and Andrew over here. So, Curtis, what most surprised you by the film?
I was actually surprised at how much information I could learn from it. I am not entirely aware of everything that happens, so this was actually a good way for me to learn, what goes on, what is really going on in the media, like in regards to, misrepresentation.
It surprised me that there was tons of information about subjects I didn't even know that were an issue. Like, for example, some of the women kept saying that they had to conform to standards, and the standards were put on pressure by the media themselves. Like popular news channels that would report on how beautiful someone was, or how the woman news anchors would be pressured into listening to news stories about how women were more beautiful and how women were walking, and they would have relationships, and then they would be usually at the top of the news before other issues that would seem more pressure oriented.
Another thing that I noticed that was kind of surprising was how, for example, news anchors were wearing lots of low-cut shirts, and people didn't really want to do that. It drew attention. That's why they did it, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
Have you ever felt misrepresented by the media? Any of you?
I personally have not. I do not. I'm a gamer, and that's represented pretty well by the media as far as I'm concerned. Other than that, not that I can say, no.
I personally haven't ever been misrepresented by the media, but I can get a feel for what other people have been going through.
So you guys aren't being stereotyped by the media, right?
I don't.
You don't feel like it?
No.
Being as gamers or nerds?
Gamers aren't usually stereotyped in the media.
I think the media has warmed up pretty well to gamers.
That's good. That's good. In what ways do you feel pressure to conform to the media-generated images of what it means to be a man or a woman?
I can answer that one.
Okay.
Being a guy, specifically, being a guy, there's a lot of pressure to be more masculine or competitive in everything you do. There's a lot of pressure to be, like I said, more masculine or act tougher or not. And if you're not that way, as this fades a little as you get older. But when you're younger, if you're not a guy or how people are supposed to act then generally there are bullies who make fun of that or all that. So generally, I think that that's one thing that guys go through is this need to be tougher.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, what do you think of it?
I think that masculinity is usually pressured on men because of the need for competition, and usually that requires stronger muscles for physical activities like sports, or just lifting weights is usually considered masculine over reading a book. Something that is usually physically stronger than the others is considered masculine more than his superiors, and usually acts that way, pushing his own weight around. It's usually about getting yourself out there and not really caring who you hurt. It's usually pressured on men. Yes.
So do you think men feel like they have to be more masculine in today's society?
Yes, it's
yeah,
usually,
not just physically, but also in regards to their behavior and attitude, how they view things.
So they don't have a choice.
No,
really?
Well, they have a choice, but it's usually pressured on them. Even if you don't want to be masculine, you're kind of supposed to, geared towards society. It's more men are masculine, women are kind of doing the housework. It's more stereotyped that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's you do have a choice, but you're pressured. You do one thing and you're not conforming to society.
So it's what they call society peer pressure, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Summarize. What are some ways that you like to see the media better represent you?
I think that a better way the media could represent anybody really is just by not like leaving out stereotypes of gender or sexuality out of it. Like when the stories hit on the news, why are you referring to the way they're dressed or how they, the main story should be about what they think of certain things or what they're doing, not what they're doing in comparison to how they should act. I think just as a general rule, like if there's a story on a woman, I think it shouldn't be like, oh well, they did this today at the salon. Why would anyone care? I think it should be like anything that actually matters to a good majority of people. So.
Well, I think that is a good answer.
Especially the local news, too.
I believe that
it's a bunch of crap.
That
sometimes.
You should leave the sexual stereotypes out of it, like huge buffy men and then slutty women, and you should focus more on their personality and their actions and what they actually have done instead of focusing more on this person has gone to the salon or this person has won, X medals because he's so much stronger than everyone else, or he's wearing this shirt or this or that. It usually should be more focused on what they actually have accomplished with their life.
And the final question, how can we change our culture mindset to be more accepting of women in leadership?
I think that more goes back to the last question, like easily. Yeah. If you just leave out all of the things to compare to what you think you know, then it'll be easier for people to accept things. Like if you leave out the whole women are supposed to be this way and guys are supposed to be this way, then you're taking one massive step toward change, and I think that's something everyone can do.
Yeah, you should just leave the stereotypes out of it. If you do, the society will change, definitely. I mean, women have already done a lot, but it could be improved so much more.
Well said, well said. Yeah. So focus on the personality of a person and not their group, not the groups they belong to, and things like that.
Exactly. Their sexuality.
Yes. Good job. And not their ethnicity or anything that groups them in society. It just focus on the actual person itself.
Exactly.
So this is our interview about the video Miss Repersentation. And now we are done.